Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to do a sobriety Q&A. So I asked on my Instagram for some questions about alcohol-free life, sobriety, and I thought I would go through them. Now I want to start this video by saying that I love connecting with you guys and I really hope that you all take something away from these videos, but I also want you to remember that the coping mechanisms, the things that I speak about, they are mostly just my personal experiences, and I always recommend and hope that you guys would seek medical professional help if you need it. I am not a professional. The advice, the things that I talk about, they are just my own personal experience and they are just meant to encourage or offer you support or a different way of thinking. Okay, let me go through some of the questions that I got on my Instagram. So let's go. So the first question, what if you just want one drink, like a random glass of champagne at a celebration? Ooh, okay, so I've spoken about this briefly before. Sometimes I do kind of worry about not being able to drink at certain events. Weddings are probably a big one for me. I do still associate weddings with champagne, and if I was to ever get married, fingers crossed, it is a fear, it's something that comes up, it's a trigger that I will not have a drink at that event. Now, if I feel as though I'm going to want to have some kind of fancy special drink, if I want to celebrate, if I want to feel part of the celebration, I choose alcohol-free options that are similar. I know when I first stopped drinking, I used to have appetizer quite a lot, and I used to just ask for it to be served in a wine glass. I still felt like I was drinking wine, just without the horrible after effects, and I felt like other people weren't really noticing as much that I wasn't drinking. I've learned that I prefer things that aren't too sweet, so I will have like a flavored tonic water, or I'll ask for cucumber in tonic water. Ginger beer or ginger ale is a new favorite. Anything that kind of makes me feel like I would be able to mix this with alcohol, but I just don't. And I find for me that works really well. I have tried alcohol-free wines and Prosecco's. Now I know in the UK there's a few more of these out, but I haven't tried them. The ones that we have here they're okay, they're not the best. I am quite partial to an alcohol-free gin. So it's not gin, but it's like distilled. Normally they're quite aromatic, flavored, botanical style drinks, and they are meant to be like an alcohol-free spirit, and I do quite enjoy those. So really it depends on where I am and the circumstance, but I'm just happy to swap my alcohol for an alcohol-free option. As long as it's got bubbles in it, I'm normally happy. Okay, this leads me on to question number 2, thoughts on zero alcohol options. Now, like I just said, I like them. I sometimes will have them, other times I'm quite happy to just have a normal tonic water. Now I understand that that's not the case for everybody, so if an alcohol-free beer or an alcohol-free wine is triggering for you and it doesn't just quite give you the same satisfaction, then don't have it at all. It is personal preference, guys. I have a bottle of the fake alcohol-free gin in my fridge. I'll be honest, it's sat there for nearly a year. I don't drink it that often. When I'm at home especially, I will just drink water, or sometimes I'll have Coke Zero or juice. I don't really drink that much at home. Alcohol-free beers, I do really enjoy. If I've had like a really stressful day and I still get that feeling of, oh, I just wanna like have a drink, I will have an alcohol-free beer. I had a roast dinner at the weekend, and again I ordered an alcohol-free beer because sometimes I just miss having a beer. I actually quite enjoyed drinking beer when I used to drink. I don't really feel like it makes me want to drink alcohol. I'm quite partial to just having one and I'm satisfied, and then I'll have something else. So for me, like, they can be quite helpful. And they're just an alternative, and again they're just a way that you can kind of feel a little bit more included if you feel like not drinking is making you feel like an outsider. So I'm all for them. Okay, question number 3. Dating for couples when not drinking. Ooh, okay. So when I first gave up drinking, I found dating and drinking fine, but I then relapsed when I started dating this guy, and it had nothing to do with him. He didn't pressure me into drinking. I just kind of thought I could. And the second time I decided to not date when I was giving up alcohol, I prioritized my sobriety, and then I started dating when I felt ready. Now, first dates for me, I've always quite enjoyed. I have had first dates where I've got horrendously drunk, like, oh, cringe. And I also had dates where I haven't drank at all. I've had dates where the other person drinks. And my personal opinion is, if you don't want to explain to somebody why you're not drinking, it shouldn't really be an issue. If that person directly asks you why you're not drinking, it is your choice whether you want to tell them or not. Now, you can just say, oh, I'm just not drinking, and that's probably enough. You don't know this person, you don't owe them an explanation. Or if you are confident and you're really happy telling somebody why you aren't drinking, then go ahead. I think I always used to say I don't drink. I don't know, I think I used to mention it, like if I use dating apps, I think I would mention it before I met the person. And then sometimes I would get ghosted because I didn't drink, but that's okay. If somebody doesn't want to interact with you or meet you because you don't drink alcohol, they're probably not somebody that you're going to want to have in your life. So try not to take that too personally and just move on from that and find somebody that does accept you're not drinking. When I met my current partner, I think he already knew that I didn't drink because we already knew each other, and I'm very open about it. I will just say, I don't drink. When someone says, why not? Which is always the response, why don't you drink? It just doesn't agree with me. I choose not to. You'll like me a lot better when I'm not drinking. I don't know. I don't think I have like a set answer. I just kind of base it on how I feel. But the main point of this is you don't have to feel obligated to drink. It is not an issue if the person you're dating does drink. As long as you are confident and comfortable in your own choices, it shouldn't make a difference. The only thing that I would say is that you've both got to be on the same page. You have to have respect for each other. So my partner drinks and I have no issue with that. He used to drink quite a lot, which is not good for him. So I would, kind of nudge him in the direction of kind of thinking about what he was like taking in, and if he wanted to carry on and do it, that would have been fine. I had to respect his decision. He has decided to drink a little bit less, mostly, and I also respect that decision, but I haven't pushed him into doing that. I haven't ever asked him not to drink. If he wants to drink, he can. And it's the same the other way around. He knows I don't drink, he knows why, he knows it's important to me, and he would never ever pressure me into drinking. So just make sure that the person that you do connect with, the person that you start dating, has that respect, and you have the respect for that other person too. If, of course, you absolutely cannot see yourself dating somebody that drinks or somebody that not drinks, again, personal preference, just make sure the respect and the honesty and the conversations are had at some point. They don't have to be on that first date, but they need to be addressed at some point. Was it hard after going back to drinking alcohol to stop again? Okay. No is my answer. So when I relapsed, it wasn't because of any anguish or any trauma. I relapsed because I thought I was able to handle alcohol. I thought that my period of not drinking had fixed all of my problems. Not the case. So what usually happened with me is I would start drinking again and be fine for a couple of weeks, and then my old habits would start creeping back in, and I would see patterns of behavior that did not sit well with me, that made me feel uncomfortable and upset. So for me, it was very, very easy to be like, I don't want to be this person anymore. I miss the feeling of who I was when I didn't drink, and I definitely don't want to cause any pain or anguish to anybody else in my life, especially myself. So no, it wasn't difficult for me. It was quite easy to recognize poor behavior and bad habits, and for me to just return to day one and start again. I'm not saying that the process is always easy, but I definitely found the second time I gave up alcohol easier than the first, because I had been through it. I had experience knowing what to expect in certain situations, and I had experience in dealing and handling with those situations. So if anything, I'd probably say that giving it up the second and the third time is easier than the first. Somebody has just written, why? I'm gonna guess that you mean, why did I give up alcohol? So I have mentioned this in my other sobriety videos. I'll link both of them below, and you can go and watch those and find my whole story. But in short, alcohol makes me a terrible person. I turn into somebody that I never turn into when I'm sober. I am quite an angry drunk, can be. I don't have a stop, so I don't know when to stop. I'm very much a binge drinker. I don't feel the need to drink every day, but when I do drink, I find it very difficult to stop, and it makes my anxiety awful. So I would spend days and weeks worrying and flashbacking and feeling terrible about things that I would have said or done to somebody. And I got to a point where I was putting myself and my life in danger. I had some horrible moments in police stations, incidents with the law, scary situations that I look back on and just think, wow, that was stupid. And it's not the life for me. I have a history of alcohol problems in my family. I don't know if it's hereditary or not, but it is definitely something that I'm aware of, and definitely not somebody that I want to become. So that's why I don't drink alcohol. Do you feel as though your social life changed? Yes, I do. I am not going to beat around the bush and say that it didn't. I'm going to be 100% honest here. When I first gave up drinking, I used to be in a friendship group, and we used to have wino Wednesdays. We used to go out at the weekends. Alcohol played a big part in that. And I do feel that when I gave up drinking, I also started making other positive changes in my life, like going to the gym, getting healthier. As a person, I would say that my well-being and my mentality all kind of started leveling up. And friendships that I had definitely drifted apart. I don't think it was because of anybody's fault or any particular reasoning. It was just a natural occurrence that happened. The people I was friends with were very supportive of me giving up drinking, and they understood my reasons. They'd seen the reasons that I wanted to give up, and yeah, they were supportive. But naturally, I think over time, like, you kind of change, and I know that I'm quite an introverted person, and when I really need to focus on myself and make changes to my life, I will just kind of go away and do that. I would say that now I sometimes do feel as though I'm not invited places because I don't drink, and I have to kind of just let that go. It's not a nice feeling, and it might not even be true. It could just be my delightful anxiety talking rubbish, but I definitely feel like my social life changed. But I also think my social life changed for the better. So I don't enjoy going to people's houses for drinks. I don't enjoy going to bars. I love going for food, going to a restaurant, having dinner, going to the cinema, doing an activity. That's the sort of like social life that I enjoy now. And I don't know if that's part of like just getting a bit older, or if it's linked to just not drinking. But for me, I really don't enjoy just sitting talking to people while they get drunk. That's not a situation I want to be in. So I just try to keep myself away from that situation and find people who enjoy the same things that I do, or people who are happy to do both. And if some of my friends go out and I'm just not really in that place to handle it, then I won't. Don't get me wrong, sometimes I love going out with my friends. Like if all my friends were going to like a big brunch, I would be there because there's food, I can focus on the food. But sometimes, like, it's just depending how I feel. If I don't feel comfortable sitting in a bar, then I won't do it. I did go and do it recently with Dan and one of his friends, and I do feel like 1 or 2 hours is my max, and then I'm done, get me out of there. So yes, my social life has changed, but also you can still enjoy the other things in your life that you used to, just in a slightly different way. What was the hardest part of giving up drinking? Ooh, wow. Hardest part of giving up drinking. The hardest part of giving up drinking for me was if I go to the very first time I gave up alcohol. And I don't know why I remember this, but this is one of the most clear memories I have. The first few weeks, I used to struggle on a Thursday evening, and I remember I used to get the bus home from work, and sitting on that bus, looking out of the window, I remember thinking to myself, I really want to go drink. I really want to buy a bottle of wine. So I'd get off the bus stop and I would walk past a garage on the way back to my house, and I used to stop in there to buy drinks on my way home. Now, I think those sort of cravings were the most difficult part for me, but they didn't last that long. So I would have the craving in a certain situation, but if I did not act on it, or if I distracted myself by doing something else, it went away quite quickly. And then the more that I did that, the less I had the cravings. So that, I think, was the most difficult part of giving up drinking. That, and the second most difficult part is everybody will ask you how long you're gonna do it for. And that used to really annoy me. Like, when are you gonna stop doing this? You've done it for long enough now. Like, some people just don't understand that it's a permanent lifestyle change, or like they don't mean it in a malicious way, but they also, you have to understand, like, other people in your life, if you're close to them, they will be losing part of their friend too, and that's not always easy for people to understand or accept to start with. So that's also like another difficult thing. You can end up with conflict in friendships. You might find that some people just don't get it. They might find that they'll say things without thinking. So some people might call you boring. Oh, you're so boring now. You're not boring. You're making positive changes to your life. And that person doesn't really think that you're boring. They're reacting from a place of fear because they're seeing their friend make positive changes and they worry about how it's going to impact them. So those are the two things that I think I found the hardest. I'm not sure if this question is serious or if it's a little bit of trolling, but I'm gonna answer it anyway. What do you miss more, the taste of it or the feeling of being merry? If I answer this in a serious way, I actually hate the feeling of being drunk. I don't like the feeling of being tipsy. I don't like the feeling of being merry. I used to hate not being able to see things properly. I used to hate like that weightlessness feeling. I used to hate being like, I just don't like not being in control of my body. So although I used to drink and get drunk a lot, I hated the feeling of being drunk almost as much as I hated the feeling of being hungover. I do not enjoy being drunk at all. I think it feels awful. Like, and in my head now, it's like, why did I used to drink so much when I actually hate getting drunk? It's like you find that like one point where like I don't know, you maybe have one drink and like you feel a bit happy and then it's like done and it lasts like 10 seconds. So the feeling of being like tipsy is not enjoyable for me. So no, I don't miss that. The taste, I sometimes miss the taste of beer, but that's it. Again, I don't really like the taste of alcohol. I would not say that alcohol tastes nice. I do sometimes miss red wine when I smell it. So if Dan has red wine and I can smell the red wine, I'll be like, I love that smell. But it doesn't make me want to drink it. It's hard to explain. If somebody had like, oh, what's another really strong taste smelling alcohol? If somebody had like a spirit, like a whiskey or something, or Okay, a good example. If my partner goes out and he goes out for drinks and he comes home and he stinks of alcohol, I cannot stand it. Absolutely hate it, think it's disgusting. But if I smell him with a glass of red wine, it's like the nicest smell. So I know I'm not talking about taste anymore, I'm talking about smell, but like that's the only way I can link that. So I don't think I miss the taste of it. I will drink alcohol-free beer sometimes if I miss having like a cold beer. That's the only part of like missing the taste of alcohol. So yeah, that's a hard one to answer actually, but yeah. Sometimes I miss the taste of a beer, I miss the smell of red wine, but otherwise I don't miss alcohol at all. Okay, my final question, ways to help, encourage and support a friend who wants to give up alcohol. Just be encouraging and supportive. I would say, as a friend, if like, let's say my love language is physical touch and words of affirmation. So when people tell me that they're proud of me, oh my goodness, it means so much to me. So for people who used to say that they were proud of how I was giving up alcohol and how I made it look so easy, even though it wasn't, I loved that. That was like the nicest thing that my friends or people that knew me could do. It made me feel so good and it made me feel like I wasn't just doing something for no reason. It just really encouraged me and gave me that little ego boost, because honestly sometimes you can feel as though you're doing it and nobody understands and what's the point, and you have those moments where you want to give up because you're like, oh, who cares? No one cares that I'm doing this. People do care, and to hear it means so much to some people. Try and help your friend get out of the house. They will be scared about going out, and the first thing is they're gonna think you don't want to hang out with them anymore because you don't drink. So try and include them. Ask them questions. Are you comfortable doing this? Do you want to do this? Just be supportive. And then if they are happy to come out with you, I went out with my friends a few times when they were drinking and I wasn't, just make sure that they feel included. Try not to fall into the situation of everyone's really drunk and your sober friend is on the outside, because that's no fun and that person will feel so excluded. It would be awful. So just try and make sure that your friend is included. Ask them questions, check that they're okay, check that they're comfortable, and also give them opportunities to hang out with you outside of an alcohol environment. So try and plan activities that are a little bit different, or a little earlier in the day, or something like that involves food. Something that doesn't revolve around alcohol is going to really help your friend. Now, everybody is different and some people will find this whole process a lot more challenging. So I always just really try and make sure that your friend is happy, that they are okay. Just check in on them. That, I think, is probably the best way that you can help and encourage your friend if they're giving up drinking. I hope you found this video helpful, guys. Thank you so much for your questions. If you do have any questions leading on from what I've spoken about, or anything that I haven't covered in today's video, drop them in the comments below. I reply to all my comments and I love connecting with you guys. Subscribe to my channel and like this video if you did enjoy it, and I will see you guys very soon. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye.